Um, Afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for those that have taken time to subscribe and those that have liked. I would really appreciate that if you've got anything that you want us or you want me to discuss, you can send me a text or a comment to say what you would want to hear. Today I'm going to talk about customary marriage. Being in this field and having to deal with different people, we notice, or I have noticed, that a lot of people don't recognize customary marriage, especially from our Black community. But remember, for customary law to come into being was because of the customs that were practiced by our people. So from that, then laws were made to suit those people. And in this case would be our Black community, because our Black community are people that actually would pay a dowry, will pay a lobola when they want a woman to be their wives. So I have noticed that a lot of our African men, when they have paid lobola, they don't see it as a marriage at a later stage. Most of them, they actually deny that they are married. As an attorney, then you'll have to actually find out, did you go to a woman's family, ask them that you're interested in their daughter, and you paid, inkomo, maybe because men give value to cows more than cash. And maybe that is why they don't recognize ilobola as a transaction that leads to a marriage. And maybe at that particular time, they were still in love. And then things happened, because you can be in a relationship, you can be in a marriage, and everything just becomes stale. And some people, when things are stale, they think there's no longer marriage. They are not married. Now, what you need to understand is that customary marriage, it is recognized as a marriage. And when you marry customarily, you need to understand that when you now marry another one, with being a civil marriage, your civil marriage won't be recognized, because you have married customarily. So what we advise is that if you do get married customarily, immediately after your celebrations, immediately after, if your daughters and sons, they get married customarily, please go register that marriage, because it's actually a marriage. And you don't have to do a white wedding. A white wedding, it's a duplicate of the customary marriage, because the same rights that you get in a customary marriage are the very same rights that you get in a civil marriage, meaning the white wedding. Well, some it's not even a white wedding, you go to Home Affairs. So now, my advice would, before you think of going that route of customary marriage and following all the processes that comes with customary marriage. Firstly, the first thing would be there has to be two families, that of the woman and that of the man. Secondly, there has to be negotiations, and negotiations is negotiations towards payment, and both parties, families, need to agree to that, and it should be in writing, because it is actually a contract. It is a transaction where there's exchange. Now, that information will have to be in writing. Thereafter, there has to be celebration. It depends on which tribe you belong to. Yes, I'm going to use which tribe because we've got different tribes, and some they celebrate differently from another. But however, that has to be there, the celebration. And what would help, again, would be your photos, your videos to show that there was a celebration. Now, thereafter, after the celebrations, then you need to go to the Home Affairs so that now it gets recognized. Well, it's still recognized even when it's not registered, but it's safer to have it registered with the Home Affairs, because when you divorce, you follow the legal route. The divorce, it takes place in our courts. I'm not saying you marry to divorce, but I'm just saying it simplifies a lot of things. And at the same time, there's a time when you are married customarily, but you are no longer in good terms with the other party. And if it's not registered, especially our men, as I said, our men, I think they're struggling with this thing of ilobola and the celebrations. They don't regard that as a wedding. It is a wedding. Hello, it is a wedding. When you decide huokopa, what do they say? Huokopa ngwana wa motho to be your wife. That is the transaction towards a marriage. So the other thing that I would like to address is that it then happens, there are people that were married in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm not quite sure whether in the 90s we have, but please, people need to go and check. Because then the marriage certificate was handwritten. And when a marriage certificate is handwritten, when a person passes on, it will reflect never married. So please go to your parents, find out their certificates. If it's a handwritten one, please make sure that it gets registered. Because now if you are not registered, your marriage is not registered, there are those ones that would want to to take advantage that the death certificate says never married, never married. So for me, I would advise that you actually make sure that your customary marriage gets registered immediately. I would say if you were getting married on during weekend, please on Monday or Tuesday thereafter, just go and register the wedding. So that, and you go together. You go together. Because when the other person is no more, it's very difficult sometimes, because you might find that the family members of whoever that has passed on, they don't want to be of assistance. They don't want to write affidavits. They don't want to be involved because of maybe they were not happy with other issues between yourselves, and now they will make you suffer. So my advice is, please register your marriages. Our African men, customary marriage, it is a marriage. When you pay lobola, it means you are getting married. So please, 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 please. That is a wedding transaction. And if you marry customarily and then you marry with a white dress, you're actually duplicating the very same thing, one thing. So people need to know it's just to duplicate. It really makes no difference. It's just that you have a lot of money. And because even then, when you have a pastor officiating your marriage, they still have to send that information to Home Affairs. There has been a situation, and I think these people were married years ago. They celebrated and everything else. And I don't know what happened, only to find that the pastor did not send the information to Home Affairs. I remember I had to go to the family court in Johannesburg to actually find the document and see whether it was sent or not. And I had to then write emails, because then it was an advantage for the man. I think at that time he didn't want to be party to the same marriage. So it was becoming a problem. So I would advise, please, 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 register your marriage. It is a marriage, and you don't have to duplicate it. What you can do is the same customary marriage, you can make it a beautiful customary marriage, and it can be officiated by a pastor. It's still a marriage. So our men, please know, don't say when you are asked, are you married? And then you say, no, I'm not married. No, you are married legally. And all that is due to you with customary marriage, you will get. You will follow the correct procedures. I hope this will assist most of our people. Thank you.